welcome to the Caribbean and Beyond. It's a new podcast we have to serve you as uh, the host. My name is Emmanuel Paul, and today we're going to keep talking about the Caribbean culture, the Asian culture. And we could not be happier to have the best guest with us to talk
Wow.
about the Vodou. There's a lot of talk about Vodou in the US and other countries, but I feel like not everyone or most people don't know about what Vodou is, and there's a huge debate even in the Haitian community about is Vodou a religion or a culture. And today we have the pleasure to have with us Linda L. Francois. She's a very well-known artist in our community and like known globally. I will let her present herself. Mrs. Obas, this is a pleasure to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Paul. I mean, Emmanuel Paul. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be talking about my country, my culture. It's a pleasure to sit down in our community and share thoughts and how do you say experience and the way we see our country and try to resolve things by sharing our ideas, our thoughts, and positive vibes, as we can say. So it's a pleasure to be here to share with you and have this fruitful conversation.
To ask people like you to present themselves because, like, well, we feel like everybody knows you, but we are speaking for an international audience, like that is growing every day. And I would be glad if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Linda? What are you doing?
Well, my name is Linda Isabelle Francois, and I recently, it's been a year. I'm married to Emmanuel Obas, so my full name is Linda Isabelle Francois Obas. I am a choreographer, a performer, and a sociocultural activist. My career, it's been almost 33 years of dance, and my forte signature lies within our Haitian culture. So my signature as a choreographer is contemporary dance, but based on Haitian traditional dances. And my pieces, they carry, they advocate for what is known to be taboo in our country. Till today, there's a stigma on the word voodoo. What is voodoo? What it is to be a voodooist? What it is to live with voodoo within our lives? Um, when we take our history, it has always been a struggle because I don't like to say that word, but it is the truth. There is a narrative, a certain narrative that is being portrayed, and it's not a positive narrative; it's a negative narrative. So, my mission as an artist, as a person, as a Haitian woman, is to do what I can do best to promote the beauty within that culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I could say that much is that's Linda in a whole, in just
That's
one phrase. It's a lot,
that's that's great,
but
and
that's the way
I
I
feel
could
like
present myself.
I feel like Emmanuel would be mad if you didn't.
If
Oh,
I didn't,
yeah, and I know he's listening. So,
he's listening.
like you said, there is a huge debate, even in Haitian community. Like when I say even in Haitian, because I assume as Haitian, we were supposed to know what Vodou is. But up until now, you have seen debate about people, is Vodou a culture or a religion? Or if someone say they are Adventist, Jehovah Witness or Baptist, and you cannot associate themselves with Vodou like there was a church you go to practice Vodou. So I know you have done a lot of conference and a lot of universities in the US and other countries around the world. Uh, you must have this question all the time. What is Vodou as you understand it?
It's a way of life for me. And yes, I've been asked and is the question of the moment, because people are trying to find themselves, trying to go back to their roots, and trying to question their identity. So that question, what is Vodou? Is it a religion? Is it a culture? It comes very often. I like to say that Vodou is a way of life. It's bigger than a religion because there's so many levels. It's the way you see society, the way the structure of a laku, the way we address medicine, the way we see ourselves within nature itself. So it's a way of life. It's the way we dress, it's the way we, it's also a religion in the sense that there's this, when you're a Vodouist, there is this part of Vodou where there's an understanding of your spirituality. So it is a spirituality itself.
So would
Um,
you say that, I'm sorry to interrupt, would you
Go
say
ahead.
it's a culture with a religious part on it?
I would say it's a culture that has a spirituality that is with it. It comes with it. There's a certain way that the Vodou is gonna see it's himself with the Almighty, the source of everything, the energy, Papa Bon Dieu, because the Vodouist has a as a faith also, as a way of understanding the way we relate to the creator and the system of that. We have our belief, right? So there's the spiritual part, but there's also the societal part of in Voodoo. When I say there's the way we eat, there's a way we dress. If my daughter were to be sick, there's a certain way a Voodoo is gonna dress it that you cannot find in a religion. A religion is simply um, a group of people with an understanding of the way to address God, and that's it, right? So Voodoo for me is so much more that I cannot say that it's a religion, right? If I could explain it that way.
So would you would say that like someone who is a Vodouist is not necessarily mean they cannot be Jehovah Witness, Adventist, or other, because it has a spiritual part on it, but it's not a religion in it of itself. Because whenever someone asks you someone say they are Vodouist, like you immediately think that this is someone that is, against God as like the modern society, the West understand God. So someone can
No,
be,
no, 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 no. Um, there's a an understanding. As I say, I'm a Vodouist. There's an understanding that I have my faith. I have the way that I see myself within that realm of being a human being and faith, which means a belief in God, a belief in the source. Now, a Voodoo is a cannot be an Adventist because they in that spirituality they have their ways of practice, right? Because to be a spiritual being means that you have a faith, the way you see yourself and the invisible, the way you place yourself within that structure, and the practice of that spirituality. So Vodou has that practice of spirituality within it. So it is in that sense spirituality. I'm not gonna use the word religion because when we use the word religion, we put I'm gonna use a word that is French, sacerdotal, means that there's a book, there's the Bible, there's a way of method of doing things in that spirituality. Because all of those things are spiritualities, different spiritualities. Either you say Protestant or Jehovah Witnesses, these are spiritualities. They have their practice, they have the way they see, they understand their faith,
but
as do the
Lynn,
Vodouists. So a Vodouist cannot be Jehovah Witness,
Yeah, but
because
Linda,
it
why is
in
it?
itself, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
why is it? Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No,
Interrupting.
no, no
Sorry about
problem,
that.
no
But
problem.
why is it like the Vodouists? They are usually associated with Catholicism because you see in Catholic Church, in every single what they call saint, there is a law, like we call it,
Associated to
associated to it. So the Vodou Catholic is a religion. It's like someone who is a Vodouist is easy can easily say they are Catholic because they can hide behind Papa Legba behind Mama Marie, and then while they have a law Haitian law associated to that. But why should it be different for Jehovah Witness, for Adventist, like Seventh-day Adventist, or any other religion?
well, I think that's the way there's a blurry line, and it's because of our history, because of slavery. Um, Africans, when they were brought to the land, they couldn't practice their spirituality. Again, I'm not gonna use the word religion. I'm gonna say spirituality. They couldn't practice their spirituality because um to colonize someone is first you have to control the mind, the spirit of that person. Once you do that, the body, it's of no consequence. It doesn't matter. You're going to control that person. So they can practice their spirituality. What they did is what we say in Creole, they use the word complot, right? To practice their spirituality. In the front, you see Catholicism, but behind it was Vodou. So they took every saint in Catholicism and associated behind with a law, so that when the colonizer would pass by, they would think that they're practicing Catholicism, but in fact they were practicing Vodou. So today there's a great debate in Vodou about that, to try and take out that part that makes it confusing, because Catholicism is not Vodou, Vodou is not Catholicism, right? So a lot of debate. There's this part of Vodou where people are saying that we have to take the saints out. We have to take it has to be the laws. It has to be Legba. Don't tell me that Mama Marie is Ezuli. Don't tell me that La Vierge Noire is Ezuli Danto. Go with Danto. Don't confuse people. To that, I say that I understand that battle. I understand that debate. But at the same time, today, you have to know that it's strength transmitted through families, right? So there's what you call heritage. So in Vodou, you're born and you have your grandmother practicing Vodou a certain way. It's gonna transcend through your mother, your father, and you, and so on and so on. Since 1804, when we got our freedom or independence, right? Vodou was out in the open. So today, I cannot, with that heritage, I'm not comfortable telling people that this is the way it's done. This is not the way it's done. The only thing I can say is that, like I started explaining, at a certain point, we had to let the colonizer believe that we were practicing Catholicism, because if we were practicing Vodou, we would be under, let's say, we would die. They would like hunt you down. It wasn't authorized to do Vodou, right?
So yeah,
Today,
so you would
after
say,
200 years, we have to understand that there's 200 years of that spirituality heritage.
mhm.
I know that we need to define Vodou, but I think the word would be acceptance.
Yeah. But I see what you're explaining because in the old day during like slavery time, they what we call the colonizer, the masters, so they would try to bring the slave their Bibles so you can be more obedient, telling you, do not disobey your master. Do
Yes, a
what
brainwash. Yeah.
if you do what the master say, if you do everything right by the master's book, and then you can hope. But don't think about wealth on earth, because there's a God waiting for you. Everything is waiting for you in the heaven. So now accept the suffering now. So, and then I guess like the slave were not, they did not get it, they did not accept it, but since they didn't have a voice, so they had to hide behind, the Mama Mary, like the Saint Mary, what we call it, and
To practice their
to
belief.
to
Yeah.
practice
Their faith.
like the faith they easily thought they believe in, but they could not only they could not put an image on easily, so they just use Mama Mary so they can pray the law. But to that,
Exactly.
for those who don't understand what the law mean, so how could we define? Because I tried, but I don't see an English word for that. What is a law?
I think law is an energy. Um, because everything is energy. There's different. I think the simplest way to put it is for me. I am energy. You are energy. Um, God is energy. He's the creator of all things. He's energy. Doesn't have a form, but it's energy. So I think within that structure and that system, you have, for me, you would have the source itself, which is God, right? um Papa Bon Dieu, which is energy. Then you have the laws, they are energy also, and you have the human beings that are energy also. So it's a concept of energy that is formatted to give us tools to help us, the humans. You see, that's the way I see it. That's the way I understand it.
Mhm.
um Oftentimes they compare, they tell you what you would call an angel in Catholicism, or what you would call, yeah, those like guardian angel and everything, to understand it better if someone would be in that spirituality. But me, I tend to say that for me it's energy, because the what makes our heart beat is our energy. It's our
Mhm.
it's our spirit. So the law is a spirit and energy.
But Linda, if you go to like an Hogan, Bokor, we call like they call it a psychic in the US. Although I've seen people going to church here, Haitian, they are very happy to go see the psychic to do something so they can tell them what's life would be like for them, but they don't want to go to like Anhuga in Haiti to which is doing the same thing, if not better. But when you go as an anthropologist, when I was doing some kind of homework and Haiti research, you always seen the Uga like with his one Bible, like the same Bible you would see like the Christianism practicing, and then they would call some of them would call gods, uh, and you would be like in this belief saying why are they calling God? Is that with the same image on their mind, like from the slavery time they are calling another person, but they have to give it the God's name? Is that how you understand it?
No, I don't understand it like that. First of all, a psychic is a medium. It's someone that has a gift. In Vodou, a Ogun doesn't necessarily need to be a medium, and vice versa. A medium doesn't need to be a Ogun or a Mabo. Um, it's just tell you that um everybody has a calling, everybody has their duty, everybody has their gift and talent. And when I say don't from God, and when I say God, it's a word, but in Vodou they would say Maulisa, which is a sound. And I say God because it's more universal. We have no problem saying Papa Bon Dieu because it's more universal. But behind that word, we know that we are addressing the creator of all things. So either you can call it God, you can call it Papa Bon Dieu, you can call him the energy, the source. Um, you can call him Yahweh, whichever name you give him, if or it, not him, but it, that energy, I know that we have that in common. We are addressing the creator. So when you come down to the level of a Wuga that uses the Bible, all of Wugas or Mumbo don't use they it's not a principle in Vodou. It's it's not like if you're a Wugan then you use the Bible. It's really not like that. In Vodou. And personally, I've never met a Mabo or Wugan that uses the Bible to explain to you the
Yep.
I
So,
think
so
that
you would say it's not an homogeneous things. Like everybody has their own way to
the
practice. So
way
just you
the
could
thing
not
is
expect that
freedom.
every Mambo, every Ruga, so they do the same thing.
No, no. Ushef lakayu means that you are in your house, you're the general in chief commander, right? Because as I said, Vodou is not written, it's transmitted. And the fact that Haiti, when the slaves were brought, they came from several countries from Africa with their own practice. But we had to combine all of those to have the Haitian Vodou, plus our Tainos heritage, because they were Amerindian on the soil that were living there in 1492 when Christopher Columbus came to the island. So we have that part also in our Vodou. We have the Veves, we have several things from the Tainos that is, like, let's say, in the Haitian Vodou. So there's a lot of information and a way of being in practice that is diverse. You could be in Port-au-Prince, you have voodoo being practiced a certain way. You go up to the north, it's not. There's like common ground, but you would see a lot of differences also. Because
Yeah.
within the word, I always say that there's another word behind that word. It's freedom. You are free to practice as your ancestors taught you to practice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that you say that because even for, Catholicism, there is some, very diverse group in the Catholicism of the priests. They are, you know, they can marry other, they cannot, like the I'll call Methodist, if I forget the name, or they are other Orthodox priests, like they
Other
vote the
branches
same. So the same way we can have, the Bizango or the Guinea and the Haitian Vodou, we can have several divisions. Like you explained, it's like over 20, 20 nations and thousands of tribes like in Africa. We could not expect that
to be
everybody should
like
be, like united the same, like the same way. But the question, Linda, is like for my daughter, for example, if I take the example of my daughter, who's never been to Haiti, born here and raised here, and if I go someplace I see a veve, for me, it's automatically I just avoid it because I know. But and then even if I never talk Vodou to her, which I did, she need to know, but she would never cross the veve. Like every other American would cross on it, but she would never do that. How is that? Like she doesn't know, I pretend, about like Vodou. I parents don't talk, but they have the same behavior as the parent would have. Is that something that you translated from generation to generation, you would say?
I would say that it's in the DNA also, and it's when I say brainwash, I don't say the word lightly. And when I say the word ancestors and transmission, I don't say it lightly. All the fear, the trauma of that period is transmitted. And the fact that, um, again, voodoo has been portrayed to be something that is awful, dangerous, negative, evil, is transmitted from parent to kid to children, and you don't need to say a word, and because the reflexes are embedded in the DNA, because you're it's the same thing when you're your parents. You have certain way you talk, certain way you walk. Your parent didn't teach you to walk the same as they do, you just do. And they say, oh, you look like your mom right there, your mom used to do that. It's not something that you're taught, it's written in your DNA. So that's where I think the work is, because the format, the brain, the way they formatted the brain to react to the word Vodou is transmitted there. And I think that's where you come in when we talk about it, and when we inspire that question mark for people to, for our people to go and do the research, try to understand more about it. I think that's where the importance of this work that we're doing right now is. It's like,
Is
for
there,
instance, for your daughter and yourself, if you would see, if you go to a Chinese restaurant and they have their offerings at the door, you don't get, you don't feel that you're in the presence of evil.
mm,
But if you go to a Haitian restaurant and they have their offerings, and it's the same way, it's fruits, it's air, water, earth, and fire. It's all the same thing. But the fact that you know that you're in a Haitian restaurant means that, oh, it's voodoo. Oh, voodoo in your mind and your reflexes and your DNA, what was transmitted from your ancestor through you, is gonna reference to something negative where
mhm.
you don't have it for other cultures. So
Do,
this
do,
has to be addressed.
mhm. Do you think, Linda, there's an instrument, linked to Vodou? I say that because, for example, my daughter, never like they are Jehovah Witness, like her mom, and then we go someplace, they are beating a drum, saying, Papi, they are Haitian in these areas. How do you know? I I heard the sound of a drum. Say, why can you associate a drum with Haitian? So, do you think there's like particular instrument when you hear this instrument and then you think automatically there's a Haitian in this area, there's Vodou is in the area?
I think again, yes, the drum is one of the, if not the, instrument, because the drum made us what we are today. The drums, they came from Africa, went through everything with us. It's like, joy, tears, revolution, um, you name it, communication, it was the drums and the conch, right? And the lumbee. So if you were to hear somebody use the lumbee to do a calling, you would say, oh, that's Haitian. But also there's this way that the drums, the certain rhythms, you're gonna say, ah, no, there's Haitian people here. And I think that within the music itself, you could be listening to a Caribbean music. If the drum is going a certain way, you'll feel like there's a touch of Haiti there, because the drum is the is the ultimate communication among us. We don't need to be on the same wavelength, spiritually speaking, but when the drums they beat, we all unite. So yes, I think that the drum is
That's so
the
I
instrument.
so
Yeah.
we are speaking to Linda Francois Obas, not to forget. And we're talking about the Haitian culture. We're talking about Vodou. And Linda, why do you think there is such, I would say, a campaign against the Vodou? And unfortunately, yeah, it seems like we are the biggest advocates, if I could say it, like in this campaign. Maybe we were trained so good so that the master not even want to talk anymore. So they put like the priest, the pastor, and to attack our ancestors. Like I've seen priests, like I would say bishop, saying that we are where we are because of Vodou, or the country is in such situation because of sacrifice, like Vodou sacrifice they made. How do you understand there is such a not misconception? I would not call that a misconception, because a misconception is someone who they don't understand, but someone deliberately attacking Vodou, those who should be uh, advocating for the Vodouism culture. How do you understand that? How do we correct that as a nation?
Well, again, it's the it is sad. It's the brainwash still speaking, because in 1803, when we won our independence, um, it was a problem not only in the region but for the world. It meant that the world had to change. 1804 is not only for Haitian people, it's for the world, because you have to understand that Haiti did the unthinkable, the impossible. Our ancestors did the impossible, which is we won a war with basically nothing, and we whoop the first, the biggest army worldwide at the time, which was the French army. Because the French, they were feared all over the world. Here you have a small island, you have slaves that won a war. You have to understand that when Dessalines proclaimed our independence, he said, anywhere in the world you are in slavery, if you reach our borders, you will get land and you will be free. So you have to understand that not only we were a problem in the region, we were a problem for the world, because all of those other countries that had their economy based on slavery had to change, because we set an example. We set a movement in motion for the world. So, with that said, in order for them to control that narrative, they had to, since that physically they couldn't implement slavery, you had to go about it the other way. So, how do you do it? You place a mirror in front of a person and tell them that you're ugly, you're nothing, um, you are bad, and you constantly preach that you're bad, your color is bad, your spirituality is bad. You have to, the beauty standards is to be light skin. Beauty standard has your hair is ou pas gen bon cheveux. Bon cheveux is when you have long hair. You see, good hair is this. They change every stereotype. So when you look at yourself, you need to put perm, you need to put things on your skin because you're not that. So internally, also psychologically, what you are identified to
Mm.
doesn't resemble you. They
Mhm.
give you something that doesn't resonate in you because you're not that. So what do? You try to be that. You try to be something that you're not. So you get weak. Now, I know that I'm talking a lot, but I just want to come to the people that are saying it's because we did the sacrifice, this is where we are, and everything and everything. I think that is sad to say so, because, and it's somewhat disrespectful to what our ancestors did.
Mhm.
Because today, if I say I'm Haitian, I know what the word means. I know that I haven't done my part to better my country, but I know what my ancestors did.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what they did. I know that my heritage was like given to me like this on the name, on their name,
Mm-hmm.
on their sacrifice, on their bloodshed. And to dismiss that, oh, this is where we are because of this, I don't understand
So,
how could you see?
Linda, do you think we are still paying the price of the freedom we got more than 220 years ago? For example, recently there was a street in the US that changed name to Dessalines, and that generated a huge backlash. Even in Congress, people, portrayed Dessalines as a thug and saying they should not do that. In the US, in France, you would never see a dictionary with Dessalines on it. They would not teach anything about it. So even today, do you think, like, yeah, as of today, there's still a discontent, like from the West, from the Occident, I would say, about what we have done, and we are still paying the price for that, and they still cannot let go the fact that we beat like the strongest, biggest army at this time, which was the Napoleonic army.
Well, I think that the debate shouldn't be about that, because I always go back to my ancestors. Um, the debate shouldn't be about what the other thinks, or are we paying the price, or are we still paying the price, or are they doing um certain things to keep us um at bay, or the in the status that we are as a country, unstable and everything, with all political problems that we have? Are they behind those things? I don't think that the debate should be there. I think the debate should be about more about what are we going to do about our country. Stop thinking about the way they, because I don't think in 1791 when we started our revolution we were thinking about the way they see us. I don't think in 1803, Bataille de Vertières, when we won the war, after 6 hours, we're thinking about how they see us. What are they gonna do? I think we were as a nation, as people, we came together for one cause, which was to free ourselves. That's what our ancestors did. So I think today we have to unite again for one cause, is to elevate our country. We have to do better. We have to do better for the future generation. I think that's where the debate lies. And if we concentrate and focus on that cause, which is better education, health, um, you name it, economy, social structures, institutions, we concentrate, we focus on that, because that's where the war is today. It's not about them, it's about us.
Yeah, yeah,
We
but
have to stop
Linda,
thinking about them,
yeah,
because once we stop thinking about them is the day we start having solution about if there is something out there. We have to strengthen within, and then everything else that comes to attack or to be negative on us will have enough power to counterbalance, like we did in 1804.
yeah, but Linda, what you're saying now is like unbuild, undo something like a wrongdoing. How do we do that when after the war, after we won, we took the very people we defeated, we give them our education to let us know how to explain on their own way how they get defeated. And they would not say they get defeated. So, oh, we give up on. So we understood that it was time to give up. So we give up on you because our story, so like, is written by the
By
one
the
that
one that lost the
it's like
war.
someone came to
So
your house to rape you.
I won, and then yeah, and he gets the other gets to write the story. And I
Yes.
think that it comes often also that part of our history. I'm not saying that our ancestors are perfect. I'm not even saying that we are perfect. I'm saying that what they did, the rights, everything right that they did, we can learn from them. Everything wrong that they did, we can correct and learn from them. I'm not saying to do exactly what they did. I'm saying that um we can take the good, the best of what they did, strengthen what we have today, take out the bad because they did at everyone has their flaws, which is understandable. Nobody's perfect, including Dessalines or Toussaint or you name it. But all the right things that they did, I think we can pick up from that and correct all the things that later on weren't good for our country. Like that part. Giving the other total control over education to the children was a no-no. So that part we can correct because we know it wasn't a good thing. We could go back to this and correct. And we have writers, we have people that are in like expert in history, in anthropology, and you name it. So we can write the truth about our history and teach it in schools. We have to do those how do you say reform? We have to come back and correct things at all levels
Where
in
do we
every single.
Yeah, where do we start? How do we do that? It's such an important debate today, like to teach our kids, especially in this environment where Haitian, like people, Haiti is seen as, a bunch of people who cannot govern themselves and fight things like I'm sure you get this experience if you get someone in the street say where are you from and you say Haiti, there's a couple moment of silence and feel like someone is sad for us. So how do we correct that to change the narrative, teach our kids, build a new society. I like to say, if like Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, Christophe, they did not go to, the like these universities, not even like a school. They were able to do those things that
Impossible.
no other countries, no other people on earth has been
Would even
doing.
think of doing that.
They
Yeah.
could not even think about that, and they did that. So,
Hmm.
and today we find ourselves as a bunch of, they don't call us anymore because they would not say it, for they would be called racist. But how you and I, other people, can we start, like, where can we start to start changing the narrative, to build a new society where we are connected to our roots? We don't keep talking about what they think about us, like you said, but what we talk
Turn
about,
it
we
to,
think
yeah.
about us, how we can change ourselves. Where do we start?
I think that we start with everybody that has this awakening. Anybody that has any Haitian that has this awakening needs to engage. Engage means that you know that in your life today, there's a part of your life that you engage to towards changing that narrative, negative narrative. Um, I'm an artist. At the base, I'm an artist. But like I said at the beginning, today I see myself being a social cultural activist because at the beginning it wasn't it was a choice to be an artist, but it's a choice today to be a social cultural activist. Means that when I'm gonna create or when I engage my craft, there's going to be a message that is working towards like breaking down that negative narrative. This is what I do, right? You do podcasts. You are a journalist, you are a researcher, you are an anthropologist. You open your mic for others to come in and talk about this problem and how we're going to do it. This is what you do. Someone else could say that, you know what, I am going to be, I have land in Haiti. I think that I could be of service to my country if I implement agriculture in with like I do a farm because I am capable of doing that. You engage whatever it is that you know that you can do, that you can control, you engage. that's where everybody's gonna come together. I think that's how we'll be united again. Aguame, there'll be an army of that kind of breed of Haitian. We're gonna make a fist and then it'll change. And I don't think that I need to worry about timing. Is it gonna be done in 1 year, 2 years, three? I don't know, because I don't think that, again, I'm going back. I always go back to my ancestors because I am proud of them. When they did, and I'm like, please let me say this in Creole. I'm gonna say this in Creole. Le yo fe Bwakayima, yo pa pense ke yo te meton date pou nou te gen indépendance nou. Jou sa, nou deside, yo deside ke yo tap libre. Li pat gen délai. Nou te deside libre. We weren't thinking about, in 1791, we weren't thinking about 1804. It didn't matter when we land, when we got our freedom. What mattered is this situation can no longer prevail. We're going to be free from now on. 1791
in other
could
words,
have
so they
could
were
have been like
engaged.
a great genocide. It could have been, after, in less than 5 years, no more Africans. They had to. It could have been that.
Mhm.
They had to replenish and come back with other slaves and everything. It could have been 1791 could have lent our independence today. That battle could have started in 1791 and ended up, finally you get your freedom in 2023, right? It's not about, oh, you think you're gonna see it, Linda, or that Haiti, is it your children are gonna see it, or your grandchildren are gonna see it? It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
What matters today. What are we doing today?
So I'm glad you said that. In other words, like our ancestors, they were not engaged in a sprint, so they were in a marathon. So they didn't think about no timeline. And this time we're going to be freed, but they just thinking about like keep fighting
It's
until
like
they.
we're fighting because we're not going back to this.
Mm,
I'm not gonna put my children's not gonna be born in slavery. That's all that mattered. Nothing
mhm,
else mattered.
mhm,
Nothing else mattered. As of today, we are together. We make we became one. All those nations, we became one. We had our intelligentsia and we started our revolution because what mattered was no longer we would go back to slavery.
mhm.
We're not going back to this. And that was the cause that resulted in 1804. But I don't want to, I always correct myself, in 1803, because Bataille de Vertier was our independence. Sometimes we tend to forget that date, but that without November 1803, you couldn't
Mhm.
have January 1st. That day was D-Day.
Mhm.
So it didn't matter what was going to happen. It's like today we decided, okay, no more,
Mhm.
no more.
Mhm.
So I think that this is where we need to come together and say, you know what? Politically, we don't have Haitian. We need to put Haitians up there. We need to take responsibility to put Haitian, because you can be born in Haiti, but you're not Haitian to me. You
Mhm.
could be born in the US, you're more Haitian than the Haitian that are born on the soil. Because being Haitian doesn't mean that you are, it's just a birthright. Being
Yeah, but
Haitian
Linda,
is
allow
to
me
be
for.
Haitian is to be someone that cares for the country,
Yeah,
that is a
I,
citizen.
I'm glad you say because even Dessalines and one of the constitution that he written is it defined how someone is Asian. And he didn't say you're Asian when you were born from mother and father, like born in Haiti. He said you are a good father, you're a good mother, you're someone
You're
who
a
take
good
care of
citizen.
your a good citizens, and that's how you are Asian. And it is still hold today. Like there might be a lot of people who were born in Haiti, and then there are a bunch of strangers from like the Dessalines perspective.
Of course. And I think that's where we need to work on. We need to be able to change that part of our of the narrative. As politically we're we've lacked Haitian in political positions.
Mhm,
And I think that it's a lack of Haitian
mhm,
engaging. And that's our responsibility. It's not theirs, it's ours. Because if we had Haitian engaging politically, we wouldn't have non-Haitian governing Haiti.
mhm,
We wouldn't, because this is the status quo. This is what we have today. We have
mhm,
non-Haitian governing Haiti. So we need to change that. We need to put Haitian to govern Haiti, and Haitian people need to engage
mhm.
politically.
And
People
and
need to engage in wherever, in whatever you're doing, art, politic, politics, social work, you, you name it. You could be a musician. You have to engage.
mhm.
If you're a Haitian, you have to engage.
And Linda, we are almost done, but it's such an important conversation to talk about that. And it's fascinating to see how other people, like from other country, I don't like to call them the strangers, like they are engaged in doing research in Haiti to understand what kind of energy would bring someone to put, you see, like they call the piment, other things, like when you go to Gede, it do these things, and then when they don't have the law, the spirit, they could never go even close to that one.
To
Like
the
someone
Puma.
walking on fire, and there's nothing happened to them, and if they don't have this, they are not possessed by the spirit, they would not even going close to it. Like I've seen there's a wall of research that Harvard was doing to understand what is the Haitian law, how to understand the zombification in Haiti. So while we are rejecting what we have that is so much important for others, and they're investing millions doing research to understand, because once they get that, they can take it and then put it on their own, and all of a sudden
And use it.
use it, and we are going to buy it from them because
Exactly.
they are the one like sending it to us. So
Exactly.
so Linda, it's we come to the end of this show. It was very uh important to talk to you, and I'm glad we were able to talk about this topic. And it's the first. I hope it's not the last, because like you say, we need to keep talking. We need
We
to
need to
keep
keep
doing
focused. Yeah.
whatever in our power to, you know, not changing the narrative. I like you say that, not to let people know who we are, but to figure out who we are and what we can do. And if there were some questions that I did not ask you and you feel like was very important, what would it be?
Wow. How does Vodou, how do I see Vodou helping the situation today? I think that would be the question that I would love to answer.
Then answer
Um,
it. I give you all the time to answer.
I think that our culture, the Voodoo culture, has all the elements in terms of society that we can pick up from. Like, for instance, when we talk about the Lacus, um, I see the world like today, women are advocating for their rights. Um, I think that in Voodoo, we do not have that problem because everybody is equal. It could be a Mabo, it could be a Hugo, it doesn't matter the sex. What matters is that that person is the guardian of our history. And that's their main mission, is the guardian of our history, of our memories, of our ancestors. the Uga or the Mambo has the same importance as the Hunsi that sings or the Ogeniko, or it's a system where everybody are together. For me, it's not a pyramid. It's a everybody. It's a round table. So I think with those kind of things, we can respect one another. In Vodou, there's no such thing as you came in a Mercedes and they came barefoot. It's not the money that you have in your pocket that makes you better than me, or the person that is has the more like material riches has the law. No, it's not the Uga that has the law. The Uga or the Mobile may be possessed, but as well as a kid. So I think what Vodou teaches is acceptance of one another. Female, male, doesn't matter. Kid, elder, doesn't matter. Everybody has the respect that they need to thrive. And I think that in terms of environmental issues that we have in the world, pollution, now everybody's eating bio, right? Organic. It's a way of life. It's the way of Vodou.
Yeah, yeah,
Vodou
and
does
Linda,
we eat
you
we
you
eat
just
bio.
you just touched on the subject for our like the next conversation, and there's no problem you bring it because we will talk about it further because in the next podcast I was going to talk how Haitian were way ahead of Western society, even like in marriage equality, we never had any problem with people. You say same-sex marriage. In Vodou, you see what they call Madivin, Masisi, and then they were sitting the same place. Nobody judge anyone. So you don't agree with them, but they do theirs. We do ours. We even like voting right when women were able to vote in
It's
Haiti.
freedom. When I say freedom, I mean freedom. You are free. You are free to at your personal level, you are free. When you are in the community, everybody is equal to one another. That's the way of Vodou. So even the tree is within that circle. The animals are within that circle because nature, you learn to respect nature because nature is the source, is God, is the energy. So the way of the Vodou culture, we can pick up from it, learn from it, and apply it to the nationwide. There's so many things that we wouldn't be even talking about. There wouldn't be an issue, right? Because
Or they
for
would become an
cultivate, you have to
or
do
they would become an issue when the West start imposing it to us the
again. We're
own
talking
way.
about the West because we don't talk about the West. We talk about us. What are we doing today? Jeudi, c'est cérémonie, n'a fait offrande. It's Gede season. Okay, now, right now, for example, it's Makaya season. We're gonna go in the forest, gather the leaves, do bain for the whole year, so that when people get like flu or fevers, this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about the West. The West can do whatever they want. Again, we have to refrain ourselves from that kind of thinking. We don't need to care about the West. The West is taking care of itself. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to stop feeling that I mean, and it's in everything. You write a book, it has to be a great like French. You don't see yourself writing in Creole. You see, you need that from the West. We're always looking for that bravo, that applaud from the West. If you're not applaud from the West, you don't feel like you're anything. The day
Mm.
that they say, "Oh my God, Linda," the West is telling me that I am an artist, that I'm a dancer. That's the day I know that I'm a dancer. No, No. When I'm in my laku, I dance in my loa. Everybody feels the energy. I know that me as a vessel, I can transcend and bring a message to you. I don't care about the West. When I say I don't care, you have to understand, I acknowledge the West.
Mhm.
I acknowledge my presence in the world, but I need to strengthen myself in that world. I'm not waiting for their approval, for
Mhm.
example. I'm not waiting for them to tell me, oh, this is good, or you're good, or this is, oh, you're beautiful. No, we have to stop. We have to stop because it's more important for my mother to tell me that I'm beautiful. It's more important for me to have Emmanuel Paul tell me that the work I'm doing is touching a lot of future generation. It's that is important. I don't need to be on CNN talking about Haiti if it's gonna be about Anderson Cooper only.
Mhm.
I'll be on CNN talking about Haiti because it's gonna touch
Mhm.
Haitians and
Mhm.
it's gonna do the work. That's what matters to me. And I think that's where we need to be mentally
Mhm.
for us to change.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. It was a pleasure to have you, and you already give, some tip about the next conversation we are
Yeah.
going to have. How do we use Vodou to change like the society that we have? And in next topic, I think we're going to have another great conversation because that's a conversation we cannot just have in just one podcast. Thank you so much. It was a
Thank you
pleasure
for
to have
having me. Thank you for having me. And I will to you and for the
you.
work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for being part of this conversation and for listening to our podcast wherever you get your podcast. My name is Emmanuel Paul. I'm the host of the Caribbean and Beyond. And in this podcast, we talk about the Haitian and Caribbean culture and trying to uh, tell our story from our own perspectives because oftentimes a lot of people don't understand the Caribbean. They don't understand Haitian. They got their own perception, their own misconception about who we are. And I think it is very important that we tell our story as we understand it so the world know better about us because nobody is better than us uh, to tell who we are. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and you can always uh, text us or send us email, follow us on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, formerly X, on X, formerly Twitter, everywhere, or and download our podcast wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate your encouragement and we look forward to have you for another podcast next time. Thank you so much. My name is Emmanuel Paul. See you next time.